matin, j'ai vu Armel.
I saw Armel this morning.
Je pensais qu'il était devant, donc.
I thought he was right in front.
Donc, ça va plutôt pas mal.
So that I wasn't doing too badly.
Je sais pas s'il est. Maintenant, je le vois plus.
Now I can't see him anymore. It's weird. Sixth day into the race, off the Canary Islands, Armel Le Cléac'h, in a side-by-side fight with François Gabard and Bernard Stam, takes the lead of the Vendée Globe. Coming out of a particularly active front, the fleet can now head straight towards the equator. Memories of uncomfortable sailing slowly vanish in favor of now better navigating conditions. For the most, the demands of the course now seem to come together with the joy of being at sea. Just past the Canary Islands. Cape Verde Islands are in reach. Good speed in the trade winds. We're now not too strong, about 15 knots. Great ambiance, it's great heat, and we know we've left the European winter. The Vendée Globe's joys and misfortunes. On November 17th, Samantha Davis and her bruised boat arrive at Funchal Harbour, Portugal. After dismast, the most French of the English women skippers reached Madeira Island, heartbroken, with ambitions on hold. The same day, Jérémie Beyou is 6th in the ranking when he sends out these images. The keel head. We clearly see the eye jack that bust right there. The jack that activates his boat's keel laterally suddenly broke. The boat's leaking. I really need to find shelter. Maître Coq's skipper is forced to change route and is off to the Cape Verde Islands to evaluate the possibilities for repair. With no assistance, soon after, the verdict will fall.
Hi, Jeremy. There are a lot of people here listening to you this morning.
Well, to be clear, I'm motoring my way towards the Mindelo Harbor in St. Vincent Island. The race is over. That's life. On the same weekend, Alex Thompson somehow felt the heat of the cannonball.
There's half the tie bar, so you can see the problem.
As his monohull was sailing 20 knots, Hugo Boss skippers saw his hydro generator tear and damage the rudder tie bar. So Alex had to pull out his toolbox along with his perfect odd job instruction manual.
That'll do the job. We'll find out, that's for sure. Here's a repaired tie bar. Was broken here and here. You see it's a very Heath Robinson repair.
For the Spaniard Javier Sanso, it was a mainsail rail problem he needed to solve. This is the part I fixed yesterday, the part I had to recover from the masthead. It's not exactly the same. The new one has been reinforced. We lost a few places in the ranking, but I hope to catch up. I hope to be lucky and be able to move up in the ranking. After Jérémie Beyou's abandon, 15 boats are still on call. The fleet is broken up into 3 clearly identified groups: the favorites, the outsiders, and the latecomers. Ahead, it's full sail straight down south. Time for strategy hasn't come yet. As a good scout, Armel Le Cléac'h opens the way with the course's next difficulty in mind. Now we're on to the Poteau Noir. We should be there tomorrow. And if all goes well, we'll pass the equator. There's still about 600 miles, so I would say over 1,000 kilometers in this Vendée Globe. It's nice and warm on board Banque Populaire. Ambushed behind the leaders, a trio of sea dogs, their names Golding, Vavre, and Le Cam. 162 years the three together, and a great many around the world for themselves. For the last days, they're on a side-by-side regatta to the extent Jean Le Cam has trouble finding his sleep. Last night, I heard the snores. I heard all the skippers in this group snoring. Especially Golding. What a roar. And the Swiss, same thing. I had trouble sleeping, they were snoring so loud. Hello everybody. On board PRB, the ambiance is hot and heavy, as the famous Poteau Noir stands out before us. The Poteau Noir, where the trade winds from both the southern and northern hemisphere join in a climatic maelstrom. Right before me, a Poteau Noir that's sprawling and rather active, so it won't be easy. And on the 9th day of the race, quite a few reach the pool. A poteau noir like rarely seen. Armel Lecléache forced to slow down, chased by 5 boats caught in an incredible side-by-side fight, as in a 3-buoy regatta. Oh my gosh. It's horrendous. It's extremely hard, with squall up to 35 knots. It's a great fight, really. In a swelling sea, to watch the boats like that, sailing about, it's beautiful. At the peak of an extremely close fight, the 5 hunters will be within less than 3 miles from each other. I'd never been through such a poteau noir. Last night were dantesque, with squall from all directions. I'm now beginning to see the end of the tunnel. I'm riding the wind in what could look like the beginning of trade winds. At the back of the fleet, the poteau noir is still far. Michel Desjoyaux would have called them coubertinistes, understand who may. They're in the race but without the results pressure. Nevertheless, their determination has no equal than their enthusiasm and fantasy. So here's Team Plastique with the spinnaker. I'm at about 260 miles from the Cape Verde. Main sails all out, spinnaker and foresail. The sun and great navigating conditions. And a special distinction is addressed to Alessandro Di Benedetto for his wonderful way of filming dolphins. Bertrand de Broc doesn't budge an eye. Remember, he was back at the Sables d'Olonne after the damage at the start. After repairs, he set off again with 13 hours delay. Today, he makes his way, and little by little climbs up the ranking. Slowly, but surely. I don't see the time passing. It's great. But I'd still like to be a little ahead in the race. Anyway, as they say, there's a long way ahead of us. A lot's going to happen. There's still 80 days sailing, so I've got time to come out on top. At the back, around the Canary Islands latitude, the incoherent trajectory of Polish skipper Beyou and Gutek never ceased to surprise. On November 21st, struggling with insolvable automatic piloting problems, it's heartbroken he sends this message to the race headquarters. Today, I need to say what I was thinking about for days. Being brave is not only to fight, but also to know where to stop. But I can't carry on like that. Having no autopilot means I can't race. If I can't race, I have to retire. That's a tough decision, one of the toughest in my life. But that's the Vendée Globe. That's the power of the ocean, and you can't fight it. On the same November 21st, it's still as a leader that Armel Lecléache pulled out of the poteau noir to better cross this imaginary line, entrance gate into the southern hemisphere. So we just passed the equator a quarter of an hour ago. In 10 days and 19 hours, Armel Lecléache holds the second time lap reference of the route Les Sables d'Olonne the Equator after Jean Le Cam's 10 days 11 hours in 2004. It's all fine. We're head over heels. A few hours later, coming from the South Atlantic, his close pursuers will join him. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on direct on Massif for our crossing of the Poteau Noir. Not the Poteau Noir. That was really something. For the crossing of the equator. There we go. We passed the equator with Mr. F. With a remarkable start in the race, Bernard Stamm, despite little problems, has kept up the pace. The boat was tossed about like a cork, with no wind. The sails hit the daggerboard. It's a tear that's not hard to fix as such. But I can't get the sail down. I'm a little concerned. Behind the leaders group, Mike Golding passes the equator for the 22nd time. Chateau Angelus, Premier Grand Cru, Class A, 2009. What else? Jean Le Cam doesn't spare the good wines. 12th day into the race, 8 competitors now sail the Southern Hemisphere trade winds. Jean-Pierre Dick is among them. The Veerbak Paprec skipper is well rested and well positioned. I'd say this was my first night rest with quite a few hours sleep. I took advantage that the pace and the waters were rather calm to rest. So that's a good thing. Anyway, always in an attacking position. We'll see how it all unfolds, but technically and tactically, I'm right on the dot. Ahead of the fleet for almost a week now, Armé cléac'h doesn't give way. For the Banque Populaire skipper, as for his nearest pursuers, the time has come to negotiate the next stage. We're now going down the South Atlantic in the direction of the Cape Good Hope. But before that, we'll have to get around the Sainte-Hélène anticyclone. So I'll try to explain what's on the computer screen. We can see the fleet up here. Here, the Cape of Good Hope. And right in the middle, the Sainte-Hélène anticyclone. And it's because it's very much south that we're forced to circumvent it, going west. Otherwise, if we tried east, we'd have headwinds instead of fair winds. So this is why we're making this detour. There may be some variations, but it's basically the way it'll be. And as a conclusion for François Gabard, an around-the-world race may also have a citrus fruit taste. I have a little surprise. Huh? What is that? It's a grapefruit. Ladies and gentlemen, be aware, this is my last fresh fruit for quite some time. We left from here. We're now off Brazil. And as you can imagine, we have quite some way to go. There. At least another 20,000 miles to cover in this Vendée Globe 2012-2013. End of this second week's race.